Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the reminder.
Yep. And could I get a mic check from everybody?
Mic check 1 2 3. This is Bill's mic testing 1 2. Right, 1 2 3 4. Glad to be here.
Okay.
Good to see you.
One more time.
Hardly recognized you with the shaving there, Wesley.
Oh yeah, last time you saw me had a beard, didn't I?
He
Sure
was
did.
a scary dude that came out of the woods of St. Simon's.
Mic check 1 2 3.
Again?
1 2 3. Mic check.
And
I
who
talk
are
a
you?
little bit.
And who are you?
Brittany Brown.
Very good. Thank
Brittany
you.
Brown.
All right. Dean?
Dean Burnett coming to you live from St. Simon's Island
Yay!
with the Honorable Clint Day.
Ooh. Okay, remember, try not to tap on the table. You know, sometimes we talk with our hands, so y'all know better than I do. Okay. And I got a little thing I'll read into, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, we're ready? You ready?
I want to make sure we're recording. Okay. We're recording. Very good.
All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Speak the Truth in Love with Clint Day from St. Simon's Island, Georgia, at 1100 a.m., where we do speak the truth in love based on Ephesians 4:15. In today's woke PC culture, there are many forces that want to stop free speech, especially for people of faith. Good men and women must be willing to stand up for their faith and be salt and light to preserve our freedom. True freedom comes from faith in Jesus Christ. In John 8:32, God's Word says, "The truth will set you free."
Amen.
Today I welcome you, friends, and I'd like to welcome my good friend Dean Burnett and Brittany Brown and Bill Edwards. They're from Savannah, Chatham County area. They're doing great things for the conservative cause up there and pro-family causes and Christian causes, and we're grateful for what they're doing. And Dean, let's just tell us about what y'all are doing up there.
It's a nice story that how God has lined up the stars and really prepared us to be together, and He brought Brittany into my life, our lives, about a year and a half or so ago. And she started attending some of our rascally Republican meetings and was very professional and was responsive more so than many people that I know. And so we quickly became friends. And as I was looking for my replacement as chairman of that organization, she stepped up in spite of the commitment and all of the aggravation that goes along with that, and I'm grateful to her for having done that. But I became aware that she was a podcaster, and she had directed and produced podcasts and had her own podcast. And in fact, my granddaughter and I listened to her classes on podcasting on driving back and forth to Atlanta. But then all of a sudden, Bill Edwards' show was missing. I'd listen to it in the mornings, bringing my granddaughter to school, and he just, without warning, was gone. And it was a concern to many in our community. And I did some investigation, called around, and found out that he had left the station. And so I contacted Brittany, and I said, "Hey, Brittany, we need to call Bill." And we called Bill and ended up meeting with him, and we all agreed that this world needs conservative media, conservative-friendly media, more objective media. All of these things. The woke culture controls all of the media practically. There's a handful or so of conservative national news networks, but there's nothing on a grassroots level, and there's a huge void there. And that's, I think, was all three of our calling, to come in and fill this void, educate our community, and especially our more younger generation coming up, having an 18, 19-year-old granddaughter who's graduated from school as a closet Republican, because the culture is just so anti-Christian, so even anti-constitutional. They believe that our Constitution is somehow obsolete, and that's just because they have been indoctrinated. I'm going too fast.
You're doing good. You're doing good. So, Brittany, how about you? What brought you in here? It's great to see a young, conservative, Christian, faith-based person that's getting involved and realizing that the wokeness in society doesn't work. I mean, I even heard this morning where the Department of Defense is telling people that parachute out of planes into football fields not to have American flags on their ride down. And I don't want them to desecrate the flag. I get that. I understand that. But I am so proud when I see that flag just flying up in the air as they land on Doak Campbell Stadium, where I go. I went to Florida State. So when they land on that field, I am so proud of that. So, Brittany, what brought you here, and what's the name of the organization you run in Chatham County?
SEGRA, which is the Southeast Georgia Republican Assembly. We are a charter of the GRA. So,
which is?
The Georgia Republican Assembly.
And we need more of those. We're developing one here in Glenn County, too. So in the whole coastal area, we need to get more conservatives within to have more influence in the Republican Party.
Yes. I 100% agree.
And then get out of that bureaucracy they have and be able to support candidates we want to support.
Yep, I agree with that. And, the reason that I'm involved in politics, which is not my first choice, to be honest, it's a little messy, but the reason that I've gotten involved is just because my father, he was in the service, and he said, none of my children went into the service, but you guys need to serve. This is a mess, so you need to figure it out. So I figured it out, and that's why I've been super involved. And I think for me, it's also about community building. I think that we've lost a sense of our community. I think COVID really helped accelerate that too. Georgia was pretty good as far as the COVID rules and things like that, but in other places it was really bad for people. And even in Georgia, there was a lot of restrictions, and we're just starting this year to see a lot of normalcy. I think in Savannah, we're going to have the, parade back probably at full capacity, and we haven't seen that since 2020.
So St. Patrick's
Day, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
That's good. Yes.
So I think that we're starting to see that, but I think a lot of the community stuff has been broken down, and I think that that's a big focus, and also helping people understand how people in office affect your life. How does a commissioner affect your life? How does the city council affect your life? What does that look like, and why should you care? So for me, it's all about building community within, Chatham County. We have 4 cities there. Well, we have more than that. We have Thunderbolt as well, but I think that there's so much going on that a lot of people don't understand just because they don't want to be involved. I mean, honestly, do you want to go sit at a city council meeting? Probably not. You probably want to go watch your kids play football.
Exactly.
So I think just providing a Cliff Notes version, if you will, for people, yes, I think is very important.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And Bill, of course, you're famous in Chatham County, and it's the wonderful coast of
That's
Georgia.
Me, yeah.
For an amazing conservative voice on radio for many, many years.
Yes, sir.
We were disappointed when whoever the woke society decided they wanted to make some changes.
You weren't alone.
So I'm sure you're not, and I know that was a big shock to you when they decided to make that change. But so what brought you into the equation? I mean, Dean shared a little bit.
Well, it's like Dean said, that the Lord just seemed to drop this right in our laps, because I was looking to start my own podcast. And Dean just called me out of the blue. I didn't know who he was. And he called up and said, let's meet, and told me about Brittany. I said, okay. I had a female host for 8 years on the radio, and I really enjoyed having that perspective as well. And from another generation, I thought we blended well together. And I said, this is another great opportunity, and I won't have to do all the work myself, so it seemed like the right thing to do. And suddenly, this studio that we're using also became available for the first time in almost 30 years. It had been used by recording artists who came to town incognito. I mean, this place had the Atlanta Rhythm section come in and record. Travis Tritt would come in and record stuff, and it totally unmarked. You don't know what it is, where it is, and these guys come in and do their stuff kind of like Muscle Shoals, Alabama, or something like that. And they're
Clarksville, Mississippi.
Yeah, exactly, and they're in and out of town. And I got some good friends from Clarksville. Went to Ole Miss. And,
Absolutely.
So there you go, hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy, the Shack Up Inn.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Yes.
So that's how it happened, and we started, and we're blessed to have we're getting followers. and we've got some interested clients, and so I think we're going to be expanding, and the word's going to get out, and I think it's going to be a huge success.
That's fantastic. Well, Bill, what's the vision for what you're doing?
I just think that we just need to want to emphasize the conservative values. I want to, especially when we talk about the good kids, I want to emphasize, and because I think, as Dean was mentioning, the Constitution, I think by the time a kid gets out of the 6th grade, that the Constitution ought to be coming out of their ears.
That's right. Amen.
And it ought to be teaching it the proper way. I remember when Jeff Foxworthy was doing this great show, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader?
Exactly. That was a great show.
Oh, it was. I wish it were still on. I was always embarrassed when I was missing the 2nd grade arithmetic question or science question. But they asked this guy about Brittany's age, looked like he'd gone up to the $100,000 level. The next question was going to be worth $150,000 more. And it was like 4th or 5th grade American history, and they asked him, who said, give me liberty or give me death? And you could see the deer in the headlights look in his face. And it was like, and then he dropped out of school. It means you quit, you keep the $100,000, the money that you've won, and you drop out because you don't know the answer to the question. And I said, this guy doesn't know Patrick. I mean, in the 5th grade, Patrick Henry was one of the great people that was taught to us.
I was calling him Paul Henry, but you're
whatever.
I was close.
That's right. You had the Henry part. That's all. But at the same time, it was like, this guy is almost 40 years old, and he doesn't know who said "Give me liberty" or "Give me death." Right. One of the famous quotes from the Revolution. I mean, I was stunned, and I started looking into it, and I started asking kids around who go to private schools, and I get a lot of blank stares.
That's true. And there's a lot of basic questions that go beyond that. Even recently when John Kennedy, the senator from Louisiana, was asking a judge about just basic constitutional questions.
Can you tell me what Article 5?
Exactly. And these people should have been prepared for that, right? They would have been prepared for that. These guys are going to ask you.
Been on the bench for something like 20
years. You better have
years.
the Constitution. Exactly. But if you don't know the Constitution, and you're going to be a judge for life, and you don't even know the Constitution, and these guys are going to ask you the questions as part of your prep, you should have been ready.
Well, we have a Supreme Court justice who doesn't know what a woman is.
Exactly.
So
totally agree.
There's that. But for goodness sakes, you have this judge that's been on the bench, as you say, almost 20 years. Yep. And he even gave her an out. He said, how about Article 2?
Exactly.
Article 2 is not coming to mind.
Okay, exactly.
Jeez.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a quick break. This is Clint Day from St. Simon's Island, Georgia. With Speak the Truth in Love. We'll be right back. Okay, very good. We forgot to tell you.
So we do a 12-minute, a 9-minute, and then 3 7s.
Okay. And then we'll go upstairs and talk about your business plan and everything. Okay. Is that all right? We good? We good? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Smoking hot.
So,
good interview.
okay, what do we want to talk about?
Life is good today.
What do we want to talk about?
Well, what we're building in Savannah is a template, and what we want to put together is something that we can replicate.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Let's go.
We're doing it off this.
Okay.
Here.
All right.
You ready? In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Speak the Truth in Love with Clint Day from St. Simon's Island, Georgia. I'm here with some great people from Savannah, Georgia, Chatham County. They're building a template to help us conservatives get more organized, get the word out, get the media out. With internet opportunities, we know there are plenty of opportunities, unlimited opportunities, literally, for the conservative truth. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and so we're right, and we need to get our message out. So, Dean, tell us more about the template you're trying to build.
What we started with a 1-hour broadcast Monday through Thursday now has evolved into a television network, and we have 5 stations on our local spin network. We are expanding that as we are beginning our first capital raise of $1 million. We want to build this template so we can duplicate it in other cities around the country, just expanding out from Savannah. We believe that, and we're confident that there's a void of programming in television and the media for family-oriented, good, wholesome television, and also with that comes the opportunity to spin off and have a channel for government and politics to learn about that educational faith and religion. Gosh, we need a channel, like PragerU is doing, and some of these other people are doing on a national level. We need to take this down into our community and make it real and tangible for our kids in schools to be able to have this resource that they can come in, just like we are with Clint today, and share and things that we believe in and help educate the community and really appeal to the community. That's where our passion is.
And then, so Brittany, what are you doing with that template, if you will? How are you helping with that? I mean, I would assume you're building almost like a franchise package of how we can spread this around, so you're keeping, I guess, good notes and understanding the details that go into this, doing something like this. So help us understand more your role in that process.
So a lot of the stuff that I do a lot of the editing for the podcast that Bill and I do. And then also, Bill and I work together on a lot of who we should have on the show and different things that we want to see. We're still in the process of building that out as well. But I think programming, that's a big part of what I'm excited to really focus on, because I think we need more things that allow the community to have conversations. So bringing in people from different parts of the community and having a conversation around different things that are going on in, Savannah. I know that, something like SCAD is very controversial. And why is it? Some people think that they should be paying more taxes. Some people think, they bring a lot of value by bringing in these students and they spend money in our city. So I think having those conversations and more understanding of perspective, because I think we've also gotten to the point where if you don't agree with me, then I don't like you. And I think that we need to get away from that and be able to have better conversations, because I think that most of us really do agree on 80% of things. There's 20% that's a little touchy, but
Absolutely.
I think about 80%
Totally
we
agree.
can find agreement on. And maybe it's also being creative in the solutions. I think that not one person has the best answer. The solution comes from collaboration. So that's one of my passions.
That's so good, and I love the fact you're bringing SCAD into it, because we know that's a very liberal school from a philosophical standpoint. I have a daughter that went there, who grew up in a Christian home, went to NYU, didn't like the lack of on-hand education, hands-on, and that's what they do there at SCAD. They're very hands-on. It's a great school.
You get a
but
job
obviously-
right out of it.
Exactly. Right out of that school, you get a job, which she did. But the challenge is that liberal philosophy, and I'm so glad you're reaching out to them. I'm assuming they're helping y'all, hopefully, with some of your studio work and things like that, because, again, we've got to reach across the aisle.
Yep.
If we don't, we'll never be able to influence. If we just build that wall and always want to fight about a few issues we disagree with, right? Your point's well made. 80-20, so typical in so many things. So let's agree on the 80% and how we can work together to bring this country to a better place.
Yeah,
so, Bill, again, how's your role? What's that?
Yeah. Well, I want to cover stories that seem to be ignored by the rest of the community. I mean, there's a lot of great stories. I mean, when you watch the evening newscast now, if it bleeds, it leads is been the mantra for decades.
Yes.
And that's there was a house fire in Pembroke and somebody was killed. That's a tragedy. But is it a news story that that we need to be covering? That there are a lot of other stories that affect the entire community. I even had an argument with a anchor when I was working at WJCL years ago. She wanted to lead one night with a suicide. On the same day that Fort Howard paper mill had announced $1 billion project coming into Bryan County.
Yes.
I said, "Dear, that's your lead story, okay?
That's right.
$1 billion project. Governor was here. The big ribbon cutting. Going to be thousands of jobs." And I had a heck of a time convincing her that was the lead story and not this suicide. Right. So I don't know what it is. Over the years, I was noticing in the 25 years I worked in a newsroom, I've noticed that the kids were coming in were getting dumber and dumber, as it were. They didn't know which end of a camera to hold, it was frightening to know their lack of knowledge about the Constitution, about America, about anything else, and they were pretty much on the liberal side.
Right, and the dumbing down of American students,
without a doubt. Like I told you, like last week, for example, We had our Star Student, Star Teacher program at the downtown Kiwanis Club. We had these are all of the top students in Chatham County that have scored the highest scores on the SAT or the ACT scores. And they have their star teacher that's influenced them the most. Their parents are there, a lot of school dignitaries. Not a single television station showed up.
Wow.
That's how pathetic is that?
Right, right.
Now, maybe I should have notified them.
Right. If one of them was robbing a bank, they'd show up.
Oh,
But
without
they're
a
not
doubt.
gonna
Oh,
award
there's your lead story.
Right, that's right.
But at the same time, they have publicity people at the public schools that should have notified the media. We got our star students and send them a list of who they are. So any of the stations should have been there. I watched the news that night. There wasn't any big crash or anything else. It was they mostly focused, of course, on the Alex Murdaugh case.
Right. So what are some other type cases that you would want to emphasize that y'all found of maybe the lead on, if you will? No one else was reporting on it. Some other things that were very important in the community that you had a lead on.
I would like to. I'd like to go out and talk to these people that are building the new Hyundai plant that's building coal burners, electric cars, and and kind of challenge them a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay, you're coming in here and you're wiping out all these trees and you're gonna employ 8,400 people, and when it's at its peak, perhaps. Then why did you choose electric cars? Why is the car industry pushing this electric car thing down our throats to the point where we may all have to have one sooner or later?
To the benefit of China.
Yeah, to the benefit of China, and not and how environmentally damaging.
Absolutely.
These things
Slave labor in Africa digging that cobalt up.
We showed that the video that this guy took. He was on with Jesse Waters on Fox about 2 or 3 weeks ago, showing and it looked like, I didn't even know what they were doing. It just looked like about 40,000 people in this valley, and it looked to me like they were just standing around and hitting on rocks. I said, "What in the God's name are they doing?" Oh, they're getting cobalt. Now we have cobalt here. But we have a president that's not. Apparently, the stuff that we have here is not good. We need to get that all imported, all the oil and gas and everything that we need to help our economy. And so I would like to talk to leaders about that and challenge them a little bit. And said, why don't you build gas powered cars that would still work?
Absolutely.
I saw the ultimate was the picture I saw yesterday of a electric car charging station that was hooked up to the diesel generator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the fact of the matter is, if you run out of electricity, there's no storage.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
And of course, if I run out of gas, at least I can have a gas tank in my garage or something.
The Energizer Bunny's not coming by.
Exactly.
I would just want to wait to see the first hurricane evacuation on I-16
Absolutely.
with all the electric cars that are going to run out of juice before they get halfway to Macon.
That's a very scary thought. So we're going to take another quick break. This is Clint Day from St. Simon's Island, Georgia with Speak the Truth in Love. We'll be right back. Very good. Excellent. Okay.
3 sevens.
All right, and I'm going to go a little more personal now, okay? I'm going to just go a little more personal because I always like to hear some stories of people that go personal.
She's got a very outstanding chance of becoming the chairman of the Chatham County GOP.
Okay, that's good.
March 11th.
Okay, I don't want to get anybody. I don't want to tell anything that you don't want to talk about. But if you want to talk about that, we'll talk about.
I don't know.
Because this station goes up that far. I'm just saying.
You can hear us
Sometimes,
on- you can
sometimes
hear us on
stealth is
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Sometimes stealth is good. That's what they did to take us over.
Well, no,
take us
they've
out.
made a public announcement of
Okay,
it.
good.
so,
Okay, good.
yeah.
So whatever's good.
Word's
Awesome.
out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
She's
you.
running with a slate.
That's good. Okay.
got your
Right,
speech?
Okay. We don't need it. She can say it from the heart. Okay. All right. We're
I
ready.
want to know what they do for fun.
Okay. Well, that's
Ready?
my next question.
Okay.
Next set. 7 minutes. 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
All right,
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Speak the Truth in Love with Clint Day from St. Simon's Island, Georgia. I'm here with Dean and Brittany and Bill today, and they're from Chatham County. They're doing great work for conservative causes up there. And Dean, one thing I want to always ask my guests, and it's usually one-on-one. I'm not so blessed to have 3 great people on. And one of my favorite questions is, what's the biggest setback that you're willing to share that ever happened to you to help you become the man of God you are today?
Oh, man. God always keeps me humble. He has humbled me throughout my existence since I was born, I think. I guess one of the most transforming times in my life was in 1996. And when the Olympics came to Georgia, and I had a factory, and we were working with the state of Georgia Department of Trade, Industry, and Tourism, and it was an outstanding failure across the state for business people all around. It was myself and my company with Savannah Cookie Company, Kendrick Pecan Company out of Columbus, Georgia. I was up in Ellijay, Georgia at the time, and it was just awful. And where they had the state of Georgia, certain people in the Department of Transportation, Department of Trade, Industry, and Tourism had promised us such great things, and it failed to come out. And that was a time, where I went out in the woods, and I just had a lot of conversations with God, and it was several things that happened during that period, as far as it's not against flesh and blood that we fight, but against principalities and wickedness in high places. And that becoming reality for me transformed the way I deal with people, the way I deal with life in general. And so I don't want to go on too far, but that was probably my
Okay, what did you learn from that?
shift changing moment. Trusting in God, being humble. It really built my faith at a time, where almost feeling like committing suicide, or just being such in a terrible strait, and to pray for strength to endure, and to really have to turn it over to God and say, God, you're in charge.
That's right. That's so good. And I was teaching on a Bible study this morning on Acts 14. The first missionary journey Paul went on, and one of the things that happened to him on that trip, he was a hero. Everybody loved him. And then all of a sudden, a group comes against him. Now he's a bum, and then they stone him, leaving him for dead. Right, and so it shows us the need to persevere through no matter what stones are thrown at you. And I was reminded of even when I was a little kid. Have you ever been stoned? I've been stoned when I partied a little too much when I was in high school and college. I've been stoned that way, but what I'm talking about, have you ever been hit with a rock? It hurts. When my brothers and I were young, we had a little sand pile, and we had bricks that were left over for construction sites with my dad being in the construction business. And we'd build little houses, and then we'd bomb each other in the house with these bricks. And so a few times we'd come in with bruises and stuff. My mom would be like, what have y'all been doing? And, of course, that's my limit of stoning that way. But I can't imagine. But we all understand as conservatives, when the woke society comes against us, those we think will support us the most, that are really there to help us, that have our back, and all of a sudden we get stoned by them in a way that hurts. And so Brittany, have you ever had that happen to you? Have you ever had to overcome those kind of setbacks?
Yes, and I don't know how much I want to get into, but, I think that currently I am running for the chair of the Chatham County Republican Club. There has been a lot of pushback. They definitely are not super excited to have anyone run for that position that they have not chosen. There's been a lot of stuff been created about me that's not true, which has been, and people that I thought were my friends. And
shocked.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been an experience of, I knew it would be tough, but I had no idea how wicked or evil people could be.
Absolutely.
So.
And that's one of the challenges that we have as conservative Republicans, that we don't want to get in the middle of that battle. I know I decided when the first chairman came up again, first district chairman, I was tired of fighting my fellow Republicans. It's not, I want to elect certain people. I want to be able to support the conservative candidate, not the mainstream candidate. So we have opportunities like that with the new organizations. But I'm glad you're willing to put your name in the hat and have the competition to prove there is leadership that can take the party in the right direction, in a new direction. And a lot of it's old school versus new school. It's people born in Savannah versus people that have moved to the area. That's the thing we run into here in Glenn County, kind of the people that have been around a while versus the new people. But if you don't have people in that will grow the party, if all you're going to protect your 50 people because you've always protected each other, you're never going to grow the party. And if we don't grow the party, we're going to lose. just like we did in the U.S. Senate races. If we don't grow our party, reach across the lines, get minorities involved, because their family values are our family values. They believe the same things we do.
Exactly.
They work hard. So, hey, Bill, how about you? What's the biggest setback you'd be willing to share that really helped change your life and help you be the man of God you are today?
Well, I guess it could go back to college when you're looking at a frustrated thoracic surgeon, because that's what I wanted to be.
Yes, sir.
And organic chemistry changed my life
That's right.
considerably. That
Changed
way.
a lot of people's lives.
Well, my best friend, who is a psychiatrist now, was a year ahead of me. And he said, "You think this is a fun way to get to physical chemistry?" I said, "Good Lord, there's something worse than this." So I decided, and I was having more fun at the campus radio station than I was, so I decided to go into broadcasting. But then there were jobs that I had, and suddenly they were either eliminated or they decided that they didn't need me anymore, and I had to find another path. At one point, when I was working at Channel 4 in Charleston. And actually, an opportunity came up to work at the Chamber of Commerce in Myrtle Beach. But I decided I didn't like chamber work after a few months and went back into broadcasting.
Absolutely. I could completely understand that. We're going to take another quick break. It's Clint Day from St. Simons Island, Georgia. We'll be right back.
Wow, thank you. I missed that one.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay.
I blew right through that one. You got me.
Okay. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, Bill, let's go back to it, okay?
All right. Sure.
Ready? In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Speak the Truth in Love. Clint Day from St. Simons Island, Georgia. It's great to be with you all today. I'm here today with Dean Burnett, Brittany, and Bill from Savannah area. It's really good to have them here. And we're talking to Bill about setbacks. And I know you recently, would you be willing to share a little bit about setback that happened recently? Because I know you've been in broadcasting for years in Savannah, and there were some setbacks there.
Well, it seemed like that the Lord had opened a door, because I was at doing a talk show after I left television involuntarily, and I was doing a talk show on the now defunct WBMQ 630. Cumulus Broadcasting dropped their AM stations, but I was doing a two-person show, and they decided they were going to keep the other guy because he wasn't making as much money as I was. And all of a sudden, WTKS came along, and so another talk station opened up, and I got the job there, and I thought I was going to be there forever. I was there for 20 years. It turned to me, the only other thing that I enjoyed in my broadcast career as much was doing the Irk Russell show with Georgia Southern.
Oh, I'm sure, yes.
And when they rebuilt their football program, and that was
Bloody Head.
I am telling you, he was like with Irk, it was like opening a box of Cracker Jacks every day. You just didn't know what the prize was going to be. This is a man who took psychology out of the classroom and put it on the sidelines. I mean, just to take this little dirty ditch by the football field and call it Beautiful Eagle Creek and clean it up. And he said he sent his kids out one day. One of my favorite stories. He sent his kids out to clean it up. He said, "This is going to be called Beautiful Eagle Creek. We're going to make it beautiful." So he had the guys clean it up. He said, "I don't know how long it had been since it was clean," but he said they found a Falstaff can in there.
Oh, my
so
goodness. Yes.
that's been quite a while. But so I thought I was golden. 20 and a half years. Still had 2.5 years to go on a contract. Ratings were outstanding. Top revenue producer. I thought that's what you wanted: good ratings and a lot of
Absolutely.
revenue and loyalty and a good following. And they just told me one day, the corporation somewhere up the line, I never found out who, it's eliminated the position, and you just did your last show this morning and didn't even get a chance to say goodbye, and that was devastating. I mean, I couldn't believe it. The silver lining to that cloud, though, Clint, is that I found out that I had become this iconic morning guy that I listened to growing up, like Breakfast with Burl
Yes,
Womack,
yes.
or Al Jennings,
Absolutely.
the old WBYG.
Yes.
And because, the letters started pouring in, the emails, people are still stopping me on the street.
Wow.
And I don't even know. They'll just walk up and say, I miss you on the radio.
I mean, I hear that. I hear it here in this area too. I hear it all over, and so we do miss you.
You'll appreciate this.
So we're glad you're back.
Thank you. Me too. But you'll appreciate the irony. 2 weeks after they let me go, the spring rating books came out, and I got a $2,500 bonus for the great ratings.
Oh my goodness!
You can't make this stuff up.
No doubt about it. Well,
but this is a great opportunity. I thought I was through with going through hair, wardrobe, and makeup, but here we are back again.
absolutely, that's so good. I'm glad you're doing it. And of course, we all know setbacks set up for a comeback, right?
Yes, sir.
We've heard Todd Duncan and other leaders say that, John Maxwell, whoever, and I'm just amazed how God, when He shuts one door, He'll open another door for us.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we may not like it, we may go kicking and screaming, there is a new opportunity. We don't have to wallow in our mud. That miry pit that we can find ourselves in after something like that happens, like Psalms 40 talks about. We're in the miry pit, and then all of a sudden God lifts us up and puts us on solid ground.
Mm-hmm.
That really makes a big difference. And so I really do appreciate you sharing that story and the reality of that, because there are plenty of people out there that are getting in corporate cutbacks right now.
Yeah.
And we talk about suicide, people start thinking about that, and they start going, wait a minute, if you're out there and you're thinking that direction, please don't do that.
No.
There's hope. There's hope in our view, in faith in Jesus Christ. That's where your real hope is.
I thought things will never get that bad.
Absolutely.
But I want to emphasize, by the way, it was not a local decision. It came up line corporate somewhere. So I know that the local people had to face the brunt of it, because I saw one of the sales girls a couple of weeks later, and she said, I've quit answering the phone.
Yeah.
Because I said, well, look at somebody, you answer the phone. I'm not going to, because the question was, where's Bill?
Exactly, and it's a real honor and a real testimony.
Oh, I
to
am
your what you
touched.
did. Absolutely,
I really am.
Absolutely, and that's a reflection of corporate wokeness and what's
Exactly.
going on. I'm really happy that DeSantis, of course, in Florida, has taken on Disney.
Amen.
And at the time when Disney was starting Disney, we could understand why rural Florida would give them the opportunities they gave them. But now they've outgrown it. They don't need it. And now it's time for the locals to be able to control what Disney does. And of
Exactly.
course, I'm normally a free market guy, but not in that case.
Well, especially the direction that they're going.
They're interfering with your own politics.
Yeah.
Their corporate philosophy from Burbank is trying to tell them what to do in Florida.
Yeah.
And California's a disaster, and Florida's a free state.
And Disney,
Florida's a free state.
and Walt's spinning like a lathe.
Absolutely.
Because he was Christian.
Absolutely.
Through and through, was before Congress on numerous occasions saying things are bad out there. You need to get a handle on this. There are too many communists out
Absolutely, and I'm glad to see their stock being hurt, and
Yes.
other company, Bed Bath and Beyond, being hurt for kicking My Pillow guy out. I mean,
Yeah.
all these things. Look, I'm
All of them
against.
kicked him out.
I'm like, yeah, exactly, and I'm not, like Sean Hannity's always saying, I'm against, boycotts and stuff like
Me too.
that, and I am fundamentally against them. But at the same time, we've got to let our voice be heard. We do not need to be going to movies of Disney that are promoting values that we don't agree with. Just don't go to them. Don't buy those toys.
But yet China tells them, don't you put this scene in the movie. And
Oh, they won't let them. I mean, in every other country in the world, even we're more liberal on social issues than Europe is, and y'all know that.
Yes, sir.
That's bad. That's really bad. So, but it's just amazing how y'all are doing what we need to do. You're building the template. You're doing it. You're showing it. Now, you concern me a little bit with $1 million fundraising, because out there some people are going, whoa, $1 million. But there's a lot you can do for $1,000.
Yes, there is.
There really is, to start it. Start small, build it one step at a time.
Yep.
So this is Clint Day with Speak the Truth in Love. We're going to take a quick break for our final segment.
All right, good. Just to let y'all know, I am for boycotts. I like them. I think we need to do them more often, all the time. Boom shakalaka.
Yeah.
Good.
That's one place where Mr.
Well,
Day
that's
and I
why he
disagree.
owns the radio station.
Well, you also have to
ready?
give people an
Frankly, I'm getting to that
opportunity to
point,
go
too.
back to somewhere.
I'm sorry?
Wesley, I'm getting to that point too.
Well,
Because
we got to show them who's boss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we have to give alternatives. I think that's the other big
Yeah.
thing, is that there has to be an alternative for people to run to.
Well, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah. Well,
Fords and
it's like Amazon. It's so easy.
It
And
is
nobody else has figured it out.
Nope.
Walmart hasn't. Walmart do what Amazon does, and I'll buy from you.
Walmart is no longer a conservative company.
I know that, but what
Yeah.
their kids, the billionaire kids are not conservative. But anyway, but they're better than Amazon.
Lesser of two evils. Are we really going to?
Exactly. Good answer. Okay. Now wait a minute. Final segment.
Final segment.
What do you want to say?
Whatever direction you want us to go.
Okay. All right.
All right, ready?
He wanted to know about fun. So, are you having fun?
And
Okay.
we are.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
In 3,
Okay.
2, 1.
Welcome back to Speak the Truth in Love with Clint Day from St. Simon's Island, Georgia. I'm here with a great group today from Savannah. And Dean, what are you doing to have fun?
I'm hanging out with these two guys a lot, and that to me is been a tremendous blessing. My family has been a wonderful blessing. My beautiful wife, who supports me.
And her name is Debbie?
And her name is Debbie, yes. Debbie. But having fun, I try to keep a good balance. We have a wonderful church we attend in Savannah, the CBC Community Bible Church, that is growing in leaps and bounds. And I want to tell you, nothing inspires me more than going to our family meeting at church Sunday afternoon and hearing the numbers and the phenomenal growth in our church and having 1,400 people in Sunday church and 250 kids in Sunday church and collections of over $5 million last
Oh, my
year.
goodness. Wow.
It's just incredible. But that, to me, in a time where the media is telling us that it's inappropriate to be a Christian, it's inappropriate to do these things, I'm seeing a lot of young families that are going back to church, that are coming back to God, and that are going to change things. And that also inspires us in our mission to develop these television networks that go back to the way they used to be.
And so you're having fun doing that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, again, excuse me for interrupting. You play the bass too, right?
I do. I play music.
Do you know the song Government Cheese? You heard that song?
I haven't.
It's a
heard
blues
that.
song someone shared with me today that's so good. It talks about, I want to make my omelets with government cheese. I want to make my
geez.
cheese sandwich with government cheese, free cheese,
Yeah.
and free cheese. I want more free cheese. And that's one of the problems we have in our country, right? Is we're trying to make everything free to buy people's votes when it's not free. Somebody's got to pay for it, and eventually we run out of people that can pay for it.
Yes.
Benjamin
So
Franklin.
we got to exactly. So we got to do something about that. So I know that you're having fun creating this station and this venue, this media outlet, if you will, that's really going to make a difference. So you're enjoying that process.
Yes.
And how about you? How do you have fun, Brittany?
Well, outside of the station, I will say one of the things that I feel like I'm very blessed with meeting these two gentlemen is that I get to connect with people in the community that are doing incredible things. I mean, we've met, I think, every person that is focused on the right to life and saving babies and helping women. And we've been blessed to interview those people on our show, which has been amazing. And, in my free time, I do have a 70-pound golden doodle. Him and I go out on adventures and
What's his
kayak.
name or her name?
His name is Vanderbilt. We call him
All right,
Vandy. He's
okay.
also at the studio every day with us, so
Yes.
it's been fun. It's been really,
That's
really
very
fun.
good. So now, again, you were in a military family. We want to thank you and your family for being a military family because it was a sacrifice for you too. We know that. We want to recognize that.
Thank
That's
you.
not easy. It's not easy at all. So, how about you, Bill? What are you doing to have fun?
Well, doing this, and also I have a great wife of going on 27 years now, and as she said, it's been 8 of the best years of her life, but enjoying the grandkids.
How about for you? How many?
I started with the
10?
grandkids. Yeah.
10 for you.
I started with the grandkids. I understand that's a better system.
That's right.
So her kids were grown and gone when we got married. She was a widow, and she said, "I'm not going through those science projects in adolescence again. You can just enjoy the grandkids." So we are. So we hang out with them, and we like to travel. Myrtle Beach is a favorite destination. It's where we honeymooned, and it's also where we like to go up, and they have these wonderful live shows up there that we like to attend, and it's a beautiful beach, and it's a gorgeous piece of real estate up there. It's just a lot of fun, and we're taking some things off the bucket list. We went to Mount Rushmore about 3 years
Fantastic.
ago.
Place. Yes.
Oh, it's breathtaking.
It really is.
When you
And you got to see fireworks because Trump was allowing them at the time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was the next year, but we were there in 19, so we made it in under the wire
Gotcha.
before the ridiculous and needless COVID shutdown. But we
Well,
took
before the Indians and the environmentalists got upset about scaring the animals.
That's true.
Whatever. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Or forest fires.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that never happened.
Yes.
But taking the bus tour, the only thing that I scheduled for us was a bus tour the first day we got there, and then other than that, we just drove around and saw stuff. But to go down this, there's a route that you take, and you go through these tunnels, and they're only one-way tunnels. So a car coming, you have to wait for that car or whatever, and the bus is coming. But it frames the mountain right in that tunnel.
Wow.
And to see that mountain for the first time, you're like, just breathtaking. So we're doing stuff like that. Yellowstone's the next one, but trying to get my wife back on a plane with all the things that she sees about delays and everything else, people spending a week in the airport. I'm having trouble. So I went to Wheels Up, which is private jets. Mm-hmm. And I called the guy and talked to him. I said, about how much would it be? We want to go to Yellowstone. He said, it'd be about $42,000. And I said, dollars? What?
Well, I want to tell you, Yellowstone, one of the best places in the world to go to.
Yeah,
Super volcano. We know someday it'll blow up. And
oh, yeah.
Everybody's
We'll
talking
be gone,
about it.
yeah.
But we'll be gone. We'll be raptured out of here. But the bottom line is that is an amazing place to step onto the grounds, to literally jump back to when the first people came there to see it is amazing.
Great.
Yes.
Kevin Costner has
Absolutely.
this great Fox Nation
Yes.
series on Yellowstone
Yes.
that is absolutely breathtaking, and how it developed and how it became our first national park.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Dean, one final piece of advice in about 15, 20 seconds can you give us?
Piece of advice.
To anybody out there listening, say a young person's listening, give them some advice real quick.
Surround yourself with good people, smarter than you are. And if you have a job or whatever you're doing, always be looking for your replacement. Always. Don't be fearful that somebody's going to do a better job. You hope that they will.
Have faith in the Lord.
Keep the faith. Absolutely keep the faith. Well, good day, friends. I want to thank you for joining us today for Speak the Truth in Love with Clint Day from St. Simons Island, Georgia on WCGA 1100 AM. And remember, every day is a God day.
Mm-hmm.
We're clear.
The check's ready? Okay.
Clear.
We're clear. Thank y'all very much. Good job.
Sorry, I just
Thank you.
I was
This is
counting on
unexpected
volunteer
surprise.
time today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This has been a pleasant.
Now, this is a nice setup.
Nice. I
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Write us down anytime.
Comfy.
Twist